Welcome to Think Big with Dan and Qasim. Join hosts Dan Melnick and Qasim Masood as they explore big ideas, limitless possibilities, and engage with visionaries, entrepreneurs, and thought leaders who dare to dream big, get inspired, motivated, and find practical tips for personal growth. Think big, dream bigger, and ignite your potential.
Welcome to Think Big with Dan and Qasim. And Qasim's not here, it's just me today. But Taunya, if you want to go ahead and introduce yourself, tell us where you live and what you do for a living.
Okay, I am Taunya Cole, and I live in Texas, Tyler, Texas, and my career job is a nurse, and I have founded a company called Rewrite Health, where I will probably get into more of that with you in this podcast.
Awesome. So can you tell us a little more about your company, what you do, and what gave you the idea to start this company?
So the company was started, like the idea was in 2018. So I've been a nurse for a little while, and just doing work at the bedside with patients. A lot of them would come in, as you know, with different things going on. And I always get these stories, like these backstories of things with patients, and we would just talk about them. It came with realizing that people had more going on than what they came into the hospital for. And a lot of medical conditions could be avoided, like if we address some of those backstories. So like hypertension. So someone has, chronic hypertension, but they're under a lot of stress all the time. So that's because of their environment or something that's going on in their life. And so since I do writing on the side, because I'm an author too, so I was like, why not? How could people just need something to where they can like get through these pieces of their story so they can feel better? Because, just talking to them, not in any type of interview, just normal conversation, they're like, oh yeah, I know I haven't said that in a long time, and I didn't even think about it like that, So that's kind of how it got started, in a sense, with the rewriting the health. But there was also a piece that I focused on too, with like teaching with health literacy and illness prevention. There's a lot of things that I realized people didn't use in their lifestyle. So that kind of brought those two pieces together for me as a writer and as a person who was very interested in like holistic health and natural healing and things like that. That kind of is how it's formed, it's how it started, but it has evolved since then. So it's like more things that I want to do with that.
Awesome. So can you tell us exactly what your company does and what makes you better than your competition?
Exactly what we do is three things that are not totally fleshed out yet, but it's the rewrite your story. So I help people write their story, literally, like whatever their story is. I help them outline that, we write it, and they can get it published if they choose to. The other piece is teaching, which I am working on building content for building courses of how people can have a healthy lifestyle, a holistic healthy lifestyle, among like foods that you can eat to help with different things, health situations. There's a lot of mindset. I find myself gearing towards a mindset type of coaching that I would like to offer people too. So a lot of my stuff starts with a truth and a mindset. So that's one of the pieces that I really dwell on as a starting point. What makes me better or have an edge on the competition is a very good question because I know there's people writing, and I think what I clue in on is the story piece and the listening pieces. Where I think I've honed an art, if I can say that, and to how to ask the right questions to get them to kind of unveil those pieces that kind of get them stuck in life. So I don't know that anybody else does that, but I know that's what I give people.
Definitely. So as of right now, how are you getting the word out? How are people finding out about your business?
Right now, it's probably not that out there. I've had some life interruptions myself. So I recently made my company an LLC in 2022. So I'm moving forward with kind of remodeling is a good word. Remodeling and expanding and really getting into the core pieces of what I want to offer people. So right now I'm on Instagram as Rewrite Health, and I'm on LinkedIn, and I also have a site on Etsy where I sell some of the books that I've written. And then I also have created a skin nourishing cream, like a butter. It's called Everything Butter, and it's on there, and it's a natural care for skin.
Awesome. So actually, one of our partners, Effie, is his background. He used to be and he still is sometimes an ER nurse. So, and I feel like that prepares you for doing like almost anything. So, can you talk a little bit more about how being a nurse has, helped you in being an entrepreneur and dealing with some of the, challenges in entrepreneurship?
I think the organizational skills in nursing help because there's a process in mostly everything. And it's also helped me really listen to people and what their needs are because you do that a lot. Like in nursing, assessment is one of the big things. So, I mean, you're always assessing, you're always looking to see what is happening now. Like how do you react to that? Like, what is the next step? So I think that process, and that's probably why I was a good candidate to go into nursing because I'm kind of detail oriented anyway. So I like that little bit of drama, that little bit of that process in there, and we're moving constantly, trying to see what we can do. So I think that has helped me a lot in understanding step, like what's the next step.
Makes sense. So, what is the role of technology in your business?
The role of technology, like how much technology I use,
Well,
or
yeah, yeah. I mean, I guess just, what you mentioned, I think that you have like a website or just, you're on Etsy. So I guess like in terms of technological tools, even social media, like what's the role of it within your business, in terms of even like day to day, certain tasks you might be using, technical tools that are helping you even reach people or, managing, tasks that you're working on.
yeah. So currently, I am in the process of developing a website so that I can have that tool as a reach or for people to, I can give that out as, okay, here you can find me there. Also, I use the social media sites that I'm on to reach people or just to advertise or to post on and talk about some of the things that I do. I do have tools that I use that I'm learning. I'm learning skills. So I'm not going to say I'm a techie person because I am not. So I am working to understand how I can better do that. Like with Canva is another thing that I'm learning. So as far as putting courses together and, creating something for people to use or give to people. And of course, there'll be a platform for when I have those courses done.
Cool. So in terms of technology, are you looking at or utilizing artificial intelligence in any way?
I have not yet. I have thought about it. I have read about it and but not yet. So I'm still in that learning stage.
Awesome. So what would you say has been your biggest challenge so far in starting this business?
And so I'll have to say, as I'm because it was 2018 when I originally came up with the idea. And as I'm going through now and just trying to like really put things in a stable position, it's been technology. Probably the biggest thing is trying to figure out what exactly how I want to use, as you say, technology, and then how much do I need to learn and how much do I need to have someone else do. So that's kind of where I am in that, and just trying to make sure that's what can I do at each interval when I'm able to do.
Sure. So in terms of reaching people, or your target customer, are they local in Tyler, or are you reaching people all across the country or globally? Like, who is your target audience? Where would they be located?
My target audience, I wouldn't even say they're local because it's always been people in other states and international. So that's why Zoom is another thing that's been really good. And also Skype used to be the most thing. I used to use that a lot with the the writing because people would be international. So it was just an easier platform to have them there. And you can record, of course, the interview and then write. So I would say the people they're not always local. It's not always like an in-person thing, or it hasn't been. Maybe once or twice it has been, but it's mostly been online.
So how are you able to manage your time? Obviously, you mentioned that you work a full-time job, that you're a nurse, also starting this business. How do you manage your time doing both?
It's been a little challenging at times because I haven't always been in one location. So since being here in Texas, I'm stabilizing on this new job work pattern. So it's on my off days, I have time to put some time into my business. And also that gives me time to schedule appointments for writing, like when people approach me for that. And so it's been on off days, and it's literally been creating that space and time just to focus in on what I'm doing. So it's sometimes you don't get a day off, you know. Sometimes you just have to keep going through, you know, because it's work and then it's your business. So
Definitely. So what would you say is your top priority for your business in the next 3 to 6 months?
3 to 6 months, my priority would be to have a book done that describes what I'm talking about here. So it's kind of like my calling card. Another goal would be to have a course out. So those are two goals that I know I'm currently working on for the business. And of
So,
course, a website. Yeah.
sounds good. So what would you say is the one biggest piece of advice that you wish you knew before you started this entrepreneurship journey?
Man, one thing I think I wish I had a guide because it's hard to pick one thing that I wish I knew. I wish there was like a very practical guide, mind you, not some a practical guide that would kind of instruct you on if you want to start one. And I've looked at things, you know, online, of course, during the process, but not like right at the very beginning. I didn't, you know, especially with like, how do you do taxes for your business? How do you do, you know, these different elements that you don't know until you get into them. But maybe a guide, a step-by-step guide.
Makes sense. So if we're going to have this conversation again in 1 year from now, where do you expect things to go for your business?
In about a year, I think I would have some things in place, and I would definitely have my courses, at least more courses out there, a better way of communicating about my business. So I would feel like things are more set than right now. I'm kind of like working on this, working on that, and finding time to squeeze that in. And oh yeah, I got to do that. They say you're supposed to do that for your business, you know. So it's really just trying to get things in place right now. And hopefully a year from now, that won't be a thing. It'll be the next,
So if
yeah.
somebody wanted to reach out to you or your business, what's the best way for somebody to find you?
The best way would be, I mean, I'm on social media. So those are always open ways that people can communicate. Also, they can email me, and I always check my email. They could text, you know, those are just because I'm always, you know, you always have your technology kind of with you. So those are ways that if they wanted some type of service from me, that they could
Do
reach
you
me.
mind sharing your social media handle or, email, like, just so that our listeners can reach you if they're interested?
Yeah, so the social media is on Instagram at Rewrite Health. So it's rewrite_health. And then there's LinkedIn. I'm there as Taunya S. Cole. And there's my email, which is Taunya, and it's spelled different. So it's like TAUNYASCOLE 29 at gmail.com.
Sounds great. Well, Tanya, thank you so much for your time. We're rooting for you. Hopefully, in a year from now, we can chat again as your business continues to grow and scale.
Yes, thank you for the opportunity.
Thanks. Have a great rest of your day.
All right, you too, Dan.
All right. Bye.